Hi everyone, it's so good to be here. This is my fourth Volcano Summit, I think. One of them was delivered online during the pandemic. So it really is good to be back in Antigua. I just love it here. I'm here today to talk to you about the future of work and the future of leadership and the future of how we create thriving high performance teams. The world has shifted, as we know. I think millennials were already driving change. This microphone is, I've not used one of these before. Millennials were already driving change in the workplace in what they were demanding from work. They wanted more meaning. They wanted to work in companies where there was impact. And the pandemic just propelled that movement very, very far forward. We all, during these lockdowns and different things we experienced, looked inside ourselves and we said, am I happy with the life I'm living? Am I happy with what I'm working on and what I'm putting my energy and my efforts into? And in America, they call it the Great Resignation. I don't know what they call it in all the different countries, but we saw all of these team members leaving companies, moving around. And the main reason was they wanted more meaning in their work. And so I want to talk to you about that. And I want to talk to you about what it means to be the leader of a conscious company, a conscious culture, and creating a more thriving organization. And it really does mean doing our work ourselves and bringing that to our companies and to our teams and showing all of who we are as leaders to create a space where they can also do that. I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but the funny thing about working remotely is you often actually get to know more about somebody's personal life than what you did when we all came to the office with suits on, because the dog is jumping up, the baby's crying, you're seeing somebody's lounge room or kitchen. So the irony is remote work moves us more to this type of workplace where we bring all of who we are versus just the professional mask. Oh, okay. There's two ways, I think, to create high performance in teams. One is to create a very high pressure environment with very high targets and fear that if people don't reach their target, they're going to lose their job. That's not really very fun for anybody who works there. And it's not very fun for the leader because, it's this old style of leadership. The other way to create high performance is to have high engagement. So when people believe in the thing that you do as an organization, they want to do it in the way that you do it, they will be more engaged, and provided they have the skills to do the role that they do, they're going to perform and they're going to be in much more joy and enjoyment. And the other thing that will result from that is you will have higher retention. Your team members will not leave your company, which is also very disruptive. So the first way to create high performance also tends to result in a lot of people burning out and leaving the organization. Oh, I keep going the wrong way. So what are people looking for now when we as leaders are thinking about how we create this kind of environment for our team members? There's three main things that people are looking for when they're joining companies. They want to be trusted and empowered. They want freedom and sovereignty, and they want alignment and meaning. So let's dive into each of these. So how do we trust and empower our team, and how do we create an environment where they feel trusted and they feel empowered? The first and most important thing is to be very clear about what success looks like in their role. Hiring someone in and saying, great, now you're the head of marketing, have a good time. It's confusing. They don't ever know, am I winning or not? Am I doing well or not? What does it look like? So getting really clear on what the role is and the areas of responsibility and accountability, and if there's measurables that you can put so that they know that they're achieving. I always prefer to take a solutions-based approach. So whenever team members come to me and they have a problem and they're stuck, I ask them, what are the possible solutions? And over time, they start coming and saying, we got a problem. This is what I think we should do. And that, as a leader, is much more enjoyable as well, because when people are coming to you with their problems all day and you have to solve them and you have to make all the decisions, It's exhausting. You get back home, you can't even think, what do you want to have for dinner, because you've been making decisions all day long. But empowering the team to actually come with their own solutions also means you're harnessing all of that incredible brain power and intelligence that's in the team. Allowing people to make mistakes and clean up their messes. This is one of the things that gets us in the way from doing this. As leaders, we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want there to be a problem or a challenge in our company. And so we come in and we just fix it and we make all the decisions. But really, we have to allow our team members to make mistakes and then go ahead and find solutions and rectify their mistakes. And they will learn a lot more in that process, just as we do as leaders and entrepreneurs. And then creating space for creativity through brainstorming sessions and ensuring that everybody's voice is heard. When you're running a meeting, one tip is make sure you ask everybody. You know, sometimes in teams we have very extroverted people who are always going to talk and share their opinion. And then we have people who are a little quieter and they're a little more nervous to speak. So noticing that as leaders and saying, so-and-so, I'd love to hear what you think about this, giving them the space and getting in that practice of doing it. And the third thing is, or the final thing is, transparent and open, timely conversations. Transparency is critical and highly demanded by people joining teams these days. They want to know how the organization is going, what the challenges are, how the leadership team are doing, what is the financial situation. They desire to know this, and this actually means they can bring their creativity and problem solving to the organization. When we talk about freedom and sovereignty, this is the remote work piece. And if we have a trusted and empowered team who know how to do what their job is, who know what success looks like, and they're thriving and performing, then we can move into a space where we allow them to work from wherever they want to work, whatever hours they want to work, and encouraging them to learn to work in a way that is most suitable for them. Because some people are very good late night, working at the computers, getting a lot done. That is not me. I'm very good early morning. You'll often find me wake up at 4 a.m. and just go and dive into work. And the work that I get done from 4 or 5 a.m. until, say, 8 or 9 a.m. is like the most powerful, impactful work. When we think about the traditional office environment, 9 to 5, and we think about the fact that some of our team are morning people and some of our team are night owls, we have missed the most productive hours of the day of a big chunk of our workforce. So can we let go of this idea of 9 to 5, this old world, and start to say, hey, I trust you to get to know yourself and work in the hours that suit you the best. And I understand not all roles this is possible. Sometimes we have, we need them to answer the phones during a certain time or whatever it might be. But most of the roles in most organizations, particularly professionals and knowledge workers, can be done at any time of the day. So trusting and empowering people to have the freedom to learn themselves and work in the hours that suit them best, and know that it's okay that they get up at 4 and work till 8, and then they go to yoga and walk their dog and hang out with their partner or their baby, and then they're going to do, another 4 or 5 hours work later in the day that's maybe more of the stuff that they can get through when they don't need that high functioning brain power. What made me really think about this when I thought about the craziness of missing out on my team members' most productive hours is learning, and I don't have a reference for this, but I believe we have about 2 hours 45 of really high productive brain power every single day. So I want that from my team. I want that coming into our work and into what we're building. And I know that if they're using it in that way, they're going to feel really engaged and excited by the work they're doing. And the final piece is around this alignment and meaning. So your team need to know why you as the leader, whether you're leading a team or leading an organization, why do you care about the work that we're doing? What is your vision? What is your purpose? What are the values and the ethos that you want to bring to life in this organization? And make sure they know. Oftentimes, our teams don't actually know why we're so passionate about the business that we're in. One of the things that needs to be done with this kind of vision and purpose and values is to revisit it regularly. You can't hire someone, tell them the vision and the purpose and the values, and then never tell them again and expect them to remember it and stay engaged. We need to find ways. This is one of our jobs as leaders and visionaries of an organization, is to find ways to constantly remind and engage our team in the bigger picture of why we're doing what we're doing. The other thing that is really valuable with this is using our values as an organization to navigate difficult conversations. So if we are finding someone is not performing and we're not sure why, we can start going to them and saying, well, do you actually feel aligned with the vision? Do you actually feel like you care about what we're doing? And these are our values. This one here, it seems like you're struggling with, and it's okay if that's not a value of yours and that's not how you want to work. And you can start to navigate people in and out of the organization based on what the organization stands for, how they show up for each other, and why they're doing what they do. This, as a leader, has been game changer for me. I haven't had to fire anyone since about 2016, and I haven't had anyone just quit on me unexpectedly in the same time, because we have transparency and we know who we are and why we're doing what we're doing. It's okay for us to talk about it if it doesn't feel like it's the right fit. And I normalize that for people. When they first join my organization, I say, I'm not asking you to work with me for the rest of your life. I'm asking you to work for me when every day you get out of bed and it's a hell yes. The moment it starts to become a no and a drag, let's talk about it. Let's move you on to the thing that is now a hell yes for you, because I want the people who are hell yes by my side. So we need to get rid of this fear of people coming and going and that's a bad thing. And we also need to get out of the fear-based, I don't know if you'd know the term, like the golden handcuff. Like, I'm going to keep you here for some long-term abstract reason. And if you leave, you'll be afraid you might not find another good job. Like, that's not how we want to keep people in our organizations. We want people to stay in our organizations because they want to be there. And that's where we will get the most beautiful culture, enjoyable place to work for us, and highest performance of what we're trying to do. Now, in order to create all of this, we have to embody it as leaders. And that's one of the hardest things, is showing up every day this way yourself, and also owning it if maybe you step out of alignment with the values, or you're not as transparent as you should be, or whatever it might be. And I do want to talk about one other thing before we go to some questions. I started this conversation by talking about how remote work has opened up this idea of the whole person, and we're no longer coming and wearing this professional mask. The old world said it is unprofessional for you to have emotions at work. The reality is that's not truth. What's happening is you have emotions, but you have to suppress them and not let anybody see them or experience them. The reality is that our past traumas, our past wounding, the things that upset us, the things that hurt us, don't not show up at work because we're at work. They still show up. And so creating this environment where it's okay to feel triggered or upset or have something come up for us, and we can talk about it, but we can take a break. And I think some of the slides have been cut off, but as a leader, has anyone ever felt like really angry or really frustrated or really out of control all of a sudden in a meeting with a team member? And you're like, oh my God, I want to like rip this person's head off, or I'm going to cry, or whatever it is. Like, that happens. We can't not have it happen because we are whole people. So when that does happen, rather than suppressing our emotions, we can just say, I feel really activated right now. I feel really emotional about this experience. I want to take some time out. Let's get together tomorrow or on Wednesday and talk about it. And in the meantime, I'm going to look at myself and why this is so emotional for me. And it would be great if you can do the same, and then we can come together and talk about it. When we do this, we all start to grow as people, and as people working together in a team. This is transformative for you and your team, but it's also transformative for humanity. Our organizations, when we do this, become places for transformational change. So the skills that we're teaching our people when they come and work with us start to flow out into the world around them, into their relationships, their lives, everything. So just some practical and actionable steps before we finish up and go to questions. Making sure you have that documented vision, mission, and values is really important. People cannot read your mind. They're not going to remember it. It's really important to document it and come back to it regularly. in those all company meetings. I bring my whole company together every month. When I was a smaller team, we did it every week. I think you can judge based on the size of your organization, the practicality, but bringing everyone together regularly to kind of recalibrate on this, why we're doing what we do. I recommend open, ongoing feedback instead of annual performance reviews. Building up all your list of things somebody's doing wrong and right and waiting a whole year to tell them, for millennials and the next generation in particular, is incredibly frustrating. Hearing that they've been doing something that you don't really love for 6 months when you could have just told them and they could have started improving is just so frustrating for them. And this is an older way of doing things. I think it's still a great model to ensure you do at least catch up on a regular cadence. But getting into a habit where we provide ongoing open feedback as soon as we see things that are out of alignment with our values, or that are, not, someone's not performing and we need to have a conversation about it, just doing it regularly and all the time. And then in a remote work context, online communication is really critical. So having a great tool where you can be talking together all the time and getting to know each other and sharing things, it's really important. So I would love to take any questions. We have about 3 minutes if anybody has any. Otherwise, I will wrap it up. Yeah, we got one.
Hi, I'm Pato from Collective, and I try to lead an organization that what you're saying. What we have a hard time, it's with the open feedback, because it goes against the Latin American culture. Mm-hmm. We're not used to saying things directly.
Yes.
And it could sound offending. So I don't know if you have any tips for leaders in Latin America around that.
Yeah, I think this is just a great conversation in general about, as we move to a more global, remote world where we're pulling together teams from all over the place, we're dealing with these cultural differences all the time. So I recommend talking about those cultural differences and then talking about how they relate to your culture and your company and what you want to create here. So just acknowledging that, in LATAM, for those in the team who are from wherever, it's not comfortable. We're not used to doing this, but we are deciding as an organization that this is how we want to do it. So this is what we're going to practice, and having some of those conversations so that people understand, we're being intentional about this and it is going to be uncomfortable. So letting people know that it's okay that it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me to tell you and it's uncomfortable for you to receive it, but we feel that this is going to be the best outcome long term for us to actually make a thriving organization and culture. I hope that's helpful. Yeah.
Hi, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I wanted to ask you, how has the pandemic helped move this forward faster in a lot of the organizations?
Yeah, sometimes I say 10 years forward. Sometimes I think it's more like 25. We have leapt forward in terms of how we're working together remotely, globally, all the things that I do in my organization, but also this stuff. That period of time where everybody soul searched and said, what am I doing with my life? Am I actually happy with the city I'm living in, the work that I'm doing in the world, the people that I work with? It was a long time, longer depending on where you were in the world, but it was a long time to sit and think about things. And it has drastically shifted the way we work together and the way we're accessing work, like the remote work, global remote work piece as well. So I think it's, 10, 20 years into the future we jumped. One more minute, maybe one more question.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. When do you draw the line with ongoing feedback and constant feedback and micromanaging and the workers feeling like you're on their shoulders and looking at their job or the work they're doing every time and giving them feedback every single day and feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah. Ooh. I think that's definitely something that we need to look at ourselves and measure as leaders. Am I being too tight? Is that something like my own work that I need to do, of why do I need to control this so much? Or is this person genuinely not receiving the feedback and improving? And if it's the latter, then we should be moving them out of the organization or upskilling them if that's a possibility. So I like to think of it as 3 conversations around the same issue, and the third one is really kind of so the first one is, hey, I realize I want to give you some feedback on this. The second one is a circle back, how are you doing? Looks like you're doing better, or maybe you still need to improve. And if we're doing it the third time, it's like, I don't know if this is actually the right fit. Now, specifically when it comes to feedback, of course, if you give feedback on one thing and they improve and they're going great, you may find yourself giving feedback on another thing a month later, that's fine. But if you're up in someone's face every single day, I mean, look, if that's something you need for your own ego, and let that go, or if they truly are not the right person, then let them go. Yeah. Thank you.